What is up, Raider Nation? Your buddy Murf back once again for an RFR Conversation, and I cannot wait to release to you tonight mine and Swag Jeff's conversation with the one and only Will Compton. It was an absolute blast talking to this guy, number 51, linebacker for the Oakland Raiders, former Washington Redskin, New Orleans Saint, of course, Tennessee Titan, played at the University of Nebraska. But not only is he just a freaking kick-ass football player, but the guy has one of the best podcasts out there. Him and left tackle for the Tennessee Titans, Taylor Lewan, have the Bussin with the Boys podcast. You can find it on the Barstool Sports Podcast Network. And if you haven't heard it yet, definitely check it out. Raider Nation, you won't be disappointed. They've had Darren Waller, they've had Derek Carr, they've had Max Crosby, and a litany of other guests, and which we'll get to some of that in the interview. But an absolute blast of a guy, and could not be more thankful, and especially could not be more thankful to you, the RFR listeners, and the ones that have taken up our back on social media and got Will's attention, and really drove him to connect with us. And we really had an absolute blast talking to him, and I want to give you lots of props for helping us make that happen, Raider Nation. This is one of the better player interviews, if not the best player interview that we've ever been a part of, and just an overall great dude and great guest. So many thanks to you, many thanks to Will, and without further ado, let's get it. Or as Will would say, let's fucking go.
What's up, dudes?
What up, bro?
I feel like I know you fucking guys right now.
It's feelings mutual, my man.
Yeah.
So good to have you on, man. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Number one, I want to apologize for Max Crosby. I respect the meme game. There was a second to where I was a little tight. I was like, I'm gonna fucking get to it. But I gotta respect the perseverance, man. And I'm just glad we're here now.
We're here now. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Right on. Well, can't appreciate you enough for joining us, man. When we first got locked in, not only obviously you being a Raider, but then you being local, a lot of our listeners were like, hey, man, this guy's local. And you guys are there local too, because we live in the borough, man. We're like 30 miles away from you. And so they're like, you guys need to we need to get hooked up with Will. And so our listeners, like, they were the ones that originally came up with the idea and like ran at you on Twitter. And so then that's when you agreed to do the show with us. We were like, awesome, man. And we were like celebrating. All of our listeners were all fired up. And then a week later you were on Cody's show. And I'm like, Cody, what the fuck, man?
Cody, you fucker.
What happened with that is you guys actually did the maybe Cody email. I'm not sure. You guys emailed me, which I'm a fan of. I want to say Cody might have tweeted me one time, and it was like right moment, right time type of thing.
Oh, right on.
And it's like, all right, yeah. And then Cody had reached out saying like, hey, mind going on Jeff's podcast? I was like, I think I have an email from him. And then that's when everything kind of started. And then you guys just started getting after me. Rightfully so. Like, you saw what I was doing to Max out there, and it's just a taste of my own medicine. That's all that is.
Absolutely.
I gotta learn to take that, dude.
Oh, man, we've had so much fun with it, man. And we've actually become really good friends with Cody over all this and everything, man. It's been so much, because we didn't really know Cody much before then. And a lot of people were like, man, Cody's stealing your guests. I'm like, what are you talking about? So Cody and I spoke, and I'm like, what's up with this whole thing with Compton, man? And he was like, gosh, I didn't even know. And so so we linked up with Cody, and now he's been on our show a bunch of times, and we've been on his, and like draft day, and like, it's been really cool, man. So it's been a lot of fun. We
bust his balls too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I respect it. He's always out there like Jon Snow, that gif of Jon Snow with the sword, battling the bastards. Tweet something about Derek Carr just trying to get everybody riled. I freaking love D Carr, bro. He came on Quarantine with the Boys. We were like,
he's great.
When we were quarantined. He's so fun to be around when we were there. Like, I remember when I signed, and you're a new guy, so you're kind of trying to figure everything out, find your way around, like, getting around teammates, but not really knowing how to approach, like, being in a new locker room. It's like, this is their team. How am I gonna fit in? We're midway through, and Derek was like rolling out one day, and he was like introduced himself to me, and I'm thinking like, yeah, I know who you are. And he's like, dude, my he either said his brothers or cousins were so hyped when they signed me. He was like, because they're just huge fans of your last name. They're like, oh, hey, Target acquired. We got Will Compton. And I'm like laughing with them. I'm like, seriously? He's like, yeah, man, my family's a big fan. I was like, let's fucking go, dude.
Right.
But he was one of my first friends I met there. He's been awesome.
We had talked a lot about it, like with other Raider podcasters, guys from the Pillaging podcast. They were like, a freaking Raiders jersey with Compton on the back is going to sell all of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in fact,
dude, I wanted my own jersey. I was like, this is going to be so sick. Have a black Oakland Raiders jersey that no one will be able to take away from me, dude.
And me and Swaggo, we ordered ours this week, man. We're going to be repping 51.
Yeah,
we're going to be repping on the show. Absolutely, dude. Yeah, man. So
you guys are both in Murfreesboro?
Yeah, man. We live. So I'm from the Bay Area originally, and Jeff was born in New York and lived in San Diego. So we've kind of been all over the place. But yeah, we brought a Raider fandom out here with us, man. And I've been here in Murfreesboro for like 20 years. But yeah, man, huge Raider fans, and we do the show, and we have a studio right here in my bonus room at my house.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. That's awesome, dude.
That's fun, man. So when we found out about your show, of course, we knew who you were with the Titans and stuff because we keep up. We're just football fans in general. And so then, but then when you guys started Bussin', like it was like, holy shit, like these guys are fucking great, man. Like you guys are so funny, and like we just freaking love, because we're podcast junkies too. Like we're football junkies, but we're podcast junkies, and your guys' podcast just freaking crushes, dude. Like it's so funny.
Oh, I appreciate it. We were nervous as hell to do it because I think at that point last year, I want to say we were like the first active players to kind of do a podcast like that, kind of like put yourself out there. I want to say Kirk Cousins and Russell might do podcasts under their team umbrella, I believe. And I think the McCourtney twins have a podcast now. But with nobody is like kind of setting it up for you, like I'm out purchasing everything, furniture, equipment, Taylor in the bus. Like we're doing all these things on our own. And you guys, it's like you kind of take it lightly, like all we need is some podcast equipment. We'll have a podcast, right? But as you guys know, like, it's some work having like a little podcast gig going on.
A lot more than that, yeah.
Yes, dude. And so we kind of just dove in, dude, and we wanted to basically picture like we wanted it to be like you walk in the locker room, put your gear on, but you don't go out and play football. You just pull out some beer and you talk shop in the locker room. And that's kind of the vibe we wanted to have with it because, we have access to players and we have all these insightful conversations and conversations where we're not constantly talking about football 24/7 and game planning to where you're in the sauna, the steam room, the cold tubs, and you're having these conversations about business, what's going on, funny stuff, like all the stuff that you hear us talk about. And it's like, let's get that stuff behind a mic and it'll be cool. Let's see what happens. And it's done what it's done. So it's been a lot of fun.
Dude, and that's what's so cool about it is that, being football junkies and like we love like Hard Knocks and all the behind the scenes things. And like, there's so much of the human element that gets lost on like game day and stuff, like where we really don't, you guys are wearing, of course, it's the best uniform in football, but you're under helmets and you're behind big pads and everything. And like seeing like Hard Knocks and things like that really gives us a good insight. Like All or Nothing is a great show. Like I love that one. And so that's what was so cool about your podcast. It reminded me of that. It was raw, and you guys were getting raw responses from obviously your interview with Vrabel is epic, but like Jalen Ramsey and like all these like guys that you're getting in there, and you're getting this like unfiltered rawness because no one's polished up like for an interview. And so I think that's what's so unique about what you guys did. And then especially as Raider fans, we were just like, dude, just like eating it up, man. Like it's great.
Oh, no, hell yeah.
Dude, you're the fan base, the Raider fan base is second to none, dude. It's just crazy following all you guys and seeing just all the interaction constantly about Raider stuff going on. And it was fun to be part of. I'm talking like fans outside of our facility every day. Like no matter what day it was, like small crowds sitting outside wanting autographs from everybody driving by at anything.
Yeah. Well, and you were saying I think your podcast with Waller, you were talking about like the same guys are coming to you every day. And you're like, who is this for today? That's for my dog, man. Dude, bro. Come on,
yeah. Like, so, just like with anything, like with podcasting or having a mic, you have like moments to say certain things. So you don't want a moment to get out of context when you're just, say I'm talking with Darren about like sometimes it can be annoying and you don't want to meet in any way other than like everyone has their moments throughout their day when they have long days or they're just going about their work. And when you walk out the facility, and me, I had to walk over to the extend stay, which I'm sure you guys have followed that stuff too. But I'm just walking across to the hotel every day, and people were like, "Hey, Will and Compton, the boys," and stuff like that, and you're always like ready to wave and sign stuff. And there's just certain days when it's just a long day, and it's like some of the same people that are standing out there with stuff, you know what I mean? That they want you to sign. In your mind, like you kind of learn college or rookie and stuff that, people have a bunch of stuff. You'll ask them what their name is. Like, hey, what's your name? Because you'll say to so-and-so. Because there'll be people that's trying to sell stuff. And that's just what it is. Like, nothing wrong with it. I respect the hustle, but it is what it is. And I'm on your game plan when I see you every day and you come up to me with something different. You're like, hey, come on, man, you mind signing this? And I remember, I forget who it was. I was like, yo, haven't I signed something for you like every day this week? And just with that kind of face too, there was just something I was like in a bad mood. He's like, oh, this is for my boss, man. I'm like, oh, I'm sure it is. I grab it and sign it. Here you go. He's like, oh, I appreciate you so much. And, I wish I wasn't like an asshole to him, but there's just those like tipping points where it's like, dude, come on, man. Like, how many autographs do you need? You know what I mean? It's not like I'm freaking Derek Carr, who's currently on the Raiders, and you're dying for his autograph and you came all the way from across the country. You know what I mean? Not like I'm Joe Montana or Michael Jordan walking across. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, how many Will Compton autographs do you need, dude?
They need to hang one in the bathroom and in the dining room and in the kitchen and all that.
And then that next week, he's like, hey, my boss was really stoked you signed that form. I bet he fucking was. That's all I thought in my head. I bet he was.
I bet he was on eBay when he sold that shit or whatever. Yeah. Hey, hey, if one of these days, man, we ever cross space, man, we'd love to get you to sign one of our jerseys we're going to get. And I'm going to tell you this, though, and I'll tell you this on the podcast, we'll auction it off for tornado relief, like, because we thought about that.
That would be awesome.
Because I know that, awesome. Somebody in Raider Nation will want that, and we'll auction the sucker off because we raise money. One of the things we do with our podcast is that when we had an opportunity a couple years ago, we realized we could start generating revenue with this thing. And this is not our full time job. This is a hobby we do. It's a play thing for us.
Not yet, boys.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, that's right.
But it's a passion for us. So what we do is that any of the money we make on ads or is merch sales, any of that, we give it all away. So last year we gave money to the Blitnikoff Foundation. This year we're giving money to the Stabler XO Foundation. And then, dude, one of these days, man, if you would sign a jersey, we'll donate it all the proceeds to tornado relief, man. And so that said, I want to ask you about, how did that impact you, man? Are you all good? I mean, we went from a freaking tornado to a goddamn pandemic, man, in like a period of a month.
Dude, I know. And just most recently, that power outage from just a thunderstorm, there's over 100,000 people without power. Yeah, I was like, yo, Nashville's like the toughest city in 2020, dude. Fortunately for us, we didn't get affected by either one. The storm, the power outage, we were more surprised than anything because it was like we're kind of on top of a hill. We're over in West Nashville, and we're kind of on the top of a hill. Shit just blowing everywhere. Power lines going down and everything, and we kept power for whatever reason. But the tornado that night, man, I want to say we woke up around 1 a.m., heard the alarms went off. You kind of hear our deck furniture moving around. Lightning outside. And it's crazy because after like 3 minutes, it just went calm. Like tornadoes are so eerie, dude.
Oh, yeah.
But the damage that the city took, man, it's unreal. I wasn't here when the flood happened. When was that? Back in 2000?
It was like 2010.
2010,
yeah. And so I've heard stories about, how the city kind of responds and stuff like that. And just seeing everybody come together in the whole city of Nashville. Like when something happens, it's like when one person gets wronged or like an incident like that happens, like the entire city like rallies around each other. So fortunately we didn't get affected by it, but man, Nashville took a lot of damage on the tornadoes. And then I know people are still trying to get power back right now from the power outage like a week and a half ago.
So what do you do at this time? So we go from the tornado, right? And then I mentioned the pandemic. So everyone's on lockdown, but you guys are like, it's your off season, right? Like you would be doing your like OTAs or whatever it may be, your rookie camps. I know you wouldn't be in a rookie camp, but my point being though, is that like, what are you doing right now to like stay in shape for the season, right? Because you get ready. Like
a lot of stuff, man. We had to get creative. The year I came to the Titans, the strength coach at Vanderbilt, his name's James Dobson. Coach Dobson, shout out Coach Dob, dude.
What do you get free shout outs on Raiders Fan Radio?
Yeah,
free shout outs to the boys, man. The boys get shout outs. Brands don't. So if I say Bussin with the boys, no free shout outs. The brand doesn't get a free shout out. The boys do though.
Okay.
So the staff that is with Vanderbilt strength staff, they were my staff for 5 years, all 5 years in Nebraska. So the year I came to Nashville for Tennessee, it was perfect because I had a strength staff I could go to and work out with. I'm working out with the young bucks again, college kids. I get to use the Vanderbilt weight room, their facility. Coach Mason, they've been great to me. But when this all happened and everything got shut down, where can you go to work out? Basically, what I've done is the first couple weeks when everything was really up in the air and it was just stay at home in Nashville, like it's just cloudy and rainy here. It's like spurts where it's just dark all the time. So it kind of feels like there's a pandemic going on. I would do on some of these hills, I just walk out to the front, the pavement in the front, the road in the front, just run my hills on the concrete, do my speed workouts on the concrete. I would do body weight workouts and some equipment I have at the house. Now I go to my Coach Hobson's house a couple times a week. He lets me use his garage. He's got a setup in his garage. Doesn't let me come inside. But he lets me utilize his weight room down there, and that's in the Franklin area. So I'll commute down there about 30 minutes a few times a week. And then other than that, I'll use my hill and the pavement out in front or find a field nearby. But stuff like that, I do that. And then I just work on the podcast, man, stuff off the field.
That's awesome. So the podcast, so you've been doing it for a long time and you pretty much now you're picking and choosing who you can have. It's putting it on Twitter, hey, who should we have next? And then like 2 days later, you got them. And so, did you ever think the podcast was going to blow up the way that it did?
No, when I wanted to do it, it was kind of an idea I had since being on the Redskins. And I, like you guys, big podcast junkie. Joe Rogan, Chris D'Elia fighting the Kid, Ben Greenfield Fitness, like stuff that's comedy, introspective, humor, all of it. I'm a junkie too. And I remember when I was a Redskin, I wrote in my journal that I was going to have one of the first podcasts by an active player in the NFL and / coach. That time I also wanted to be a coach. Still might, never know. But I had wrote that down and I said, it's going to have 1 million downloads. And I never got around to doing the pod because there's always that part of you that's like nervous to get vulnerable like that. Put yourself out there, especially when you can, I have a podcast and one bad play on the field, somebody can grab that play and shame me for doing anything other than studying football or making a tackle.
Yes.
And so there's a side of you that's like fearful to do something like that. So it was I was nearing the end of my my Titan year, and I'm not sure if you read my blogs, but I'm sitting there like wondering what I'm going to do. I'm starting to get nervous about, okay, this could be the end for me, and I'm going to start to figure this out. Like, I think I'm going to go in with this podcast because still nobody's done it. I had a couple teammates that are like, yo, Comp, you should do the podcast. Like, that would be dope. And it's kind of like that's what I needed for my peers to know, yo, I need to go do this thing and stop waiting around and being scared of whatever it is I'm thinking in my head and just do it. And I remember doing a radio show and like December or something. And Taylor called me. He's like, hey, so you're going to do this pod, huh? And I was like, yeah. He's like, yo, let's do it. I'll do it with you. And it was kind of like, oh, thank God. You have your boy with you, one of your best friends. And, it kind of takes the pressure off a little bit that you have somebody to do it with you. So you're not just solo on your own. But that was kind of how the idea came about. And we started it. We backlog episodes in like May and June and kind of scrambled around, fly by the seat of our pants a shitload. And, dude, we just made it happen, man. For whatever reason, we just made that shit happen. Like one week we did about 12 to 15 episodes on the bus, 90-something degree weather, July in fucking Nashville, AC, 1 unit AC in the bus, like generator sitting outside that you can't trust all the time. And we're banging out 12 to 15 in 1 week. And it was the most stressful week ever because we decided I was talking to Pat McAfee on the phone and he kind of mentored me through some stuff. And he's like, hey, if there's one thing you want to do, it's be consistent. Like if you're going to go 1 week, do one a week.
Yes,
you don't need to do more than that. You need to do, like, if you guys can figure out a way to do 1 week throughout the year, who cares what people think? Like, just do it. So, we were kind of like, we went from, we're going to do it up until season to, all right, let's get it all the way through season and figure out how to do it. Dude, it just did what it did, man. Vrabel said he cut his dick off. We had some funny conversations. And, people grabbed it. Like Delaney was our first one. I want to say Pro Football Talk, and people started writing about it right away. And we were like, we might have something pretty fucking cool as long as we keep at it, stay consistent, and see what happens. And now we're here, man. Like we've joined with Barstool, and it's been nuts, dude. No, I would not have thought we'd be this far right now.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's money, dude. It's so awesome, and it's cool. I mean, obviously, having your boy there with you makes it so much easier and stuff. And that's kind of how me and Murf are. We're best friends in real life, and so it just makes it easier, man. You flow better and you have more fun, and you feed off of each other a little bit. And so you can get anyone you want on the show pretty much at this point. So a question that I had for you was, if you had to choose either a current or former NFL player in any time, who would you bring to the bus?
Oh, that's a good question. Because the ultimate goal is getting Joe Rogan to sit on the bus and do a podcast.
Nice.
Bus with the boys. Man, that's a good question. Current or former player? Do they have to be living?
No.
Oh, I would probably Walter Payton. He'd probably be the person I would have on the bus if I could have had anybody on the bus player wise, like who I was most fascinated with through work ethic and everything he was about. It was Walter Payton. He would have been the one that I would have wanted to get on.
That's legit,
so awesome.
Man. So, hey, you mentioned some of the other endeavors with the podcast, and you mentioned the blog. Talk about that. You just recently put out the latest edition of that. It was awesome, man. It really gave just like the podcast does, gave a cool insight to what it's like for, for guys like you, for veterans. You were at a potential crossroads of your career. You had uncertainty in it, and I want to hear you talk about it more than me, but like, kind of tell everybody where they can find that, and then tell us about that, about your blog and your experience in there.
Yeah. So with quarantine, like, I remember when we got on with Barstool and they were kind of talking to me about stuff that we could do, or, hey, Will, if you ever want to blog, like, blog, you should blog. If you want to do this, go do that. Like, do whatever you want and just let us know what you're going to do. And then so that way we can help facilitate whatever you're trying to do. So when we were quarantined, I was like, it, I guess I'll try blogging. Like, I might as well try it. Like, people seem to laugh at the way I text sometimes and converse through just everything, like Twitter and all that stuff. So I'm like, let me try to hone in on this style, even though I hate like writing and reading and doing all that stuff. I'll like force myself to do it. So like, let me try to put this style into blog form and talk about some stuff that, that I'm comfortable talking about now, that, I've kind of got past like this vulnerable line with myself. And it's kind of the same thing. You write a blog and you've read the same story over and over and over. And like, God bless my fiance. She helps me with grammar. She helps me with punctuality of everything, all that stuff, structure, the way it's worded. Like, sometimes she'll give me a different word to use. You read it over and over and you're like, man, I hope people vibe with this. Like, you just have no idea. It's like, all right, am I making myself look like I'm too much of a victim here? Do I sound like a bitch? Do I sound too into myself? Do I do this? Like, you're trying to find all these weird balances. So I just started writing about my experiences with being a free agent and everything else. Because again, like, I'm not signed now, so I'm in a similar situation again. So, and now I'm to the point to where I'm comfortable talking about my experiences, because I feel, to myself anyway, like I've proved a lot of my own things that I've wanted to do in this league. And even doing it when, oh shit, I got to go to Oakland and make the team and actually play football now. Now I can't do all this podcasting and stuff anymore, but I just started taking stories and started somewhere, like how the whole transition started. There's the most recent one. You can find it on barstoolsports.com. You go to their blogs, you type in, I think it's Working Man's NFL Player is what the series or the couple that they're talking about right now. And I just kind of talk about my journey being a free agent. It kind of starts off with going from Titans to the podcast. And then the next one is like how I went going about the podcast, getting injured with the Saints, going to the Raiders, talking about negotiating with the Raiders, talking about injury stuff, like just talking about everything. I don't know. It's like, I just want to give people that aspect and make people feel like they're on the same journey with me, because if they can see me accomplishing these things and they think it's awesome, I want them to see like some of the mental and some of the stuff that goes into it. So then maybe it gives them the courage to, do the same thing. Like, I can talk about this now. Or if a player out there and they're thinking about starting a podcast and they start thinking about Bussin with the boys, and the thing in their head, I can reach out to Will because he seems like somebody who would help me out if I wanted to do something like this. So that's just what I want to do. I just want to give people access behind like what goes into everything, because when I was young coming up through it in the NFL, everything that I've tried to go after, I'm always so fascinated with why people get to where they are, because I need to figure out what they're doing and implement it into my life if I'm going to accomplish what I have written down on paper. And now that I'm starting to do those things, I want people to know what I'm doing and what I can go to where it might give them the power to go after what they're trying to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. It's so cool, man. And I appreciate you breaking it down like that. Cause again, it's such an interesting dynamic that goes on because as you know, as fans and stuff, I don't think that we definitely don't get that exposure to it. And like you've already outplayed the average length of an NFL career. And so you're at such a unique point in your career now where you have these other interests and you're wondering, like you're year to year now. And like, but that said, Will, like you balled out last year, dude. Like when you
Hell
came
yeah,
up,
bro.
like before, long before we ever even, so I'm not blowing smoke here, like long before we ever even thought about getting you on the show, Swaggo and I were doing a show and we started looking at some numbers and like breaking it down. And like, when you look at like the amount of tackles you had in the 9 games that you played with the Raiders, dude, like there's only one player, Carl Joseph, who's played in 9 games and had more tackles. Like it's you, like you outpaced even Tyre. I mean, like you had a freaking great year, man. And so like, we're all about the boy, no matter what. We're like, dude, he needs to come back. And now I know that the NFL's like, and teams are volatile and the Raiders have changed so much defensively. And I don't know, neither do you. And we just don't know how that's going to play out. But like, I think you still got more game in you, dude. And you're going to end up somewhere, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, I do have, I definitely have some more juice in the tank, and I do want to play. Like some shit just is what it is. However, I'm labeled, saw in whatever light, whatever respect, it just is what it is. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Like, I would have thought the same thing. Like I had a great year, great exit meetings, great conversations. I'm still in talks, but you just don't know. You just have no idea. The quarantine's messed a lot of stuff up. There's so many free agents still in the market. You don't know when that second wave of free agency is coming. You have interest, but you don't know where. You just don't know what hand somebody's going to play. And at the end of the day, like it's such a business. Like it doesn't matter how you spin in your head. Like if I was young, I would be losing sleep over knowing what I did the back half of last year and not being signed right now. But knowing how the business works and knowing it just fucking is what it is. Like if whatever hand you get dealt, like make the most of it. So like last year was a similar thought. Last year I chose to be a free agent all the way up until the end of training camp because I knew the year that I had with the Titans, ending the back half of the year on IR with the Redskins, playing for the Titans. They drafted first rounder Rashaan Evans, stud. And so you kind of knew what it was. No one got hurt. So I didn't get my chance to play or show any film. I was a special teams guy, had a good year on special teams. But I knew going into the next year, like, okay, you're going to turn 30 this year. You're an undrafted cat. You don't have a pedigree of the high round picks to where you kind of merit, hey, let's take a chance on them. Like you might still have something left type of thing. You know what I mean? So I knew I was going to be a 1-year minimum guy. It's just how it works. So I chose like, I'm going to do these things because I know I can still play linebacker. I know I train my ass off. I know I take care of my body. I know I'm one of the smartest guys in my own reality, in my own movie, in my own head, one of the smartest guys in the league. So I knew that somebody was going to get hurt along, and I could be a 1-year minimum guy being on a team late in preseason or being on a team midway through the year because somebody's going to get hurt. It's just NFL, 100% injury rate. So I just gambled on, I'm going to I think I told about 7 or 8 teams no to tryouts or coming in to work out because I didn't want to just put wear and tear on my body on a 90-man roster to make a 53 because I thought somebody's going to put me on the 53 because they're like, hey, we need a vet in here right now. When I went with the Saints, it was kind of like the first test. I landed there 2 or 3 days before preseason game 3. So I had 2 to 3 days to prepare. And so I like made it a point to like really be in the playbook and really try to show my ability to learn something and get thrown out in the fire without playing football since December the year before that I still play. And I did that. Fortunately, in the next game, I was going to like knock more rust off, but I got hurt. You go on the injury settlement, you get picked up to the Raiders midway through the year. And a situation just worked out to where I got on the field and played. And honestly, I exceeded my own expectations. But I had a lot of fun, dude. And now you go into the next year and you're thinking, okay, what could the market look like? Because I actually had a hell of a year at the end of the year. And I proved that I can go in, I can do this stuff, just have fun and, do all my stuff like around the fellas, the team and all that kind of fun shit, the intangible stuff that they always talk about. And, it just is what it is. Your guess is as good as mine about what's going to happen this year. But until then, I have the pod. I have blogging. I have, real estate stuff I get involved in. I keep myself very busy to keep my mind off of it.
Well, with Kwiatkowski, Muse, Littleton, and Compton sounds like a pretty good linebacking core to me, man.
That's a good damn room to me.
That's right. And we know,
I know,
and we know
right?
Gruden loves you, right, man? Like, I love the comment that Gruden had this year about being around you, man. He's a big fan of Comp.
Yeah, it was. It's funny being around him because I was around his brother Jay for like 4 years.
Oh yeah.
And so I know Jay was probably putting in a good word for me when they were trying to do their homework on me. And yeah, I was. I want to say it was Pittsburgh, 2015 or 16, game 1. It was Monday Night Football against Pittsburgh, and I was like the Gruden grinder. So I got to talk with John a lot about some stuff about my background and everything. So I had a little bit of a relationship with him. And then when I got there, I told him, I'm like, hey, your brother Jay hit me up. He just got canned from the Redskins. You want to know if he can get an intern gig here with you? And, we kind of laughed, and we just started off on the right foot.
That's awesome, man. Okay, so before we wrap up the show, we needed to we have a question that we always seem to ask people that are a part of our show, listeners. We do a Mount Rushmore of Raiders. So what we do, we spot everyone Al, and then you give the 3 Raiders. Well, since it's you, we're not going to do Raiders this time. We're going to do the Mount Rushmore of ghosts, but we're going to spot you Max Crosby.
Of ghosts. Oh,
Those are your top 3 ghosts.
Touche.
So you got Max.
Touche.
Who's your top 3?
Ghosts. Now, are we talking horror films now?
Sure.
Hey,
Yeah, it is, yeah.
However you interpret ghosts.
Dave Casper, anybody, legendary ghost.
That's what I'm saying. Casper's got to be in there. Ghost, man. Tell you what, that motherfucker from The Sixth Sense, trapped in that little cupboard. You know what I'm talking about?
Nice. Yeah.
That dude's terrifying. That dude's terrifying. And then I'll say, who's another just fucking crazy one?
You're awful modest not saying number 51.
Well, I'm not. Why would I put myself on top ghost, man? I don't want my reputation to be ghosting. I want people to listen to this and be like, you know what? He ghosted, but that dude, he's an open book. He'll fucking tell you some stories
at the end.
Yeah. He'll tell you stories. He'll give it to you, right? Man. Yeah, I mean, I guess you want to put me on there?
Yeah, I'll put you up there.
Be on the
We'll put you in that shit.
Me, Max Crosby, fucking Sixth Sense, and Casper.
That's a good. That's good. That's
hey, we got
list.
3 Raiders up there, man. We'll take it, man.
Yeah.
All right. That's awesome. Well, Cop, dude, we can't thank you enough, man, for doing this. It's been a lot of fun having you on with us, and best of luck to you in the off season. And I think it's so cool that, man, like you're at this point in your career, like I mentioned earlier, where you're starting to transition into other things, and like that's so important, man, to have life after football because even though you've been playing it since you were a kid and through Nebraska and I don't want to skate over being the star wide receiver at North County High School in Missouri, but like, you know what I mean? Like you've been playing football your whole life. Within the next few years, probably it's likely on to the next thing. And so it's so cool that you're taking all this creative outlet from your blogging and your podcast and all that and building life for you, man. So it's awesome, man. Congratulations on all the success.
I appreciate that, man. It's like we sit and talk. Like you spend, like for me personally, you spent 23 to go after this dream that you just has kept you up so much because you've wanted to play in the NFL so bad. Like me personally, to be the next Walter Payton, obviously didn't work out, but you want to go after this dream so bad that's only lasting you 7, 8, however many years I get at this thing, and knock on wood, hopefully I live till I'm like, at least 60, right? I'm just kidding. Hopefully I live like a long life, 80, 90, 100, who knows? And It's like 30 years of your life is so small compared to what is going to happen after this game. And I'm telling you, it's a real thing when you sit with your mind and stuff starts to wind down and you don't necessarily know exactly what you want to do. You have some skills, but you don't know what you're going to put it toward. Finding these outlets has been a lot of fun. And it's definitely helped me with my growth and everything. But I appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for having me on. And when season starts, let's just go hypotheticals real quick.
Okay.
Let's say I'm a free agent and I haven't been picked up, and we're tailgating, right? We're doing our Bussin with the Boys tailgates. You guys are in Nashville. You guys might as well try to combine some forces down here. Hey. You guys come to the tailgate. That's where we get the jersey signed. we combine our fan, we get our fan base going, because even though we're predominantly Titans fans, like we try to make it a point to whatever team comes, like, and visits, like, come to the tailgate, because it's everybody. If you're for the boys, no matter what color they're wearing, you're part of the fucking boys, dude.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, man.
All in on that, bro. That's awesome.
Music City Raider Nation is here, man. Raider Nation rolls deep everywhere, including here in Middle Tennessee, man. We'll come rolling through there with some silver and black, man. Would love it. Appreciate that invite and that extension, man. That's awesome, Will. That'd be killer, man.
Yeah, man.
Dude, you're the best, Will.
Hell yeah.
Man,
appreciate you guys for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Appreciate all the love on Twitter and everything, man. And best of luck to you with everything going forward, man. You got all of us and our listeners in your corner, man, rooting for you.
Yeah.
Thanks
absolutely.
a lot, man. I'm sure I'll see you guys this year.
Right on, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You'll see me on Twitter probably tomorrow.
Oh, all right, brother.
All right.
See you guys.
All right, man.
See you, Will.
See you, buddy.